Greetings. Hope this video finds you well and prosper. Hey, check this out. The passport bro thing, which has gained popularity when it comes to social media. I've spoke on it many times. People are still chirping about it. So I want to bring a little insight. A little insight and understanding. If you are not a brown-skinned, copper-colored man who grew up amongst his people, and his family, friends, society in the United States, if you're not of that experience, you're not going to fully comprehend what the passport bros are talking about. So I'm going to give you a little insight from a perspective of a man who grew up amongst the so-called black community, so-called black folks, and lived overseas and traveled overseas. I grew up in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. My parents are from the Mobile, Alabama area, but they migrated north, Great Migration, to the jobs and the industry of the North, Chicago, Detroit, Milwaukee. There was a change that took place in the South and the North. That's another deep discussion. But welfare occurred in the North. The Caucasians started giving themselves, passing legislation for passing laws to take care of themselves. Brown-skinned folks caught wind of that and said, "Oh, we want a piece of the pie too." So welfare kind of jumped off in the inner cities of Northern America. So there was another migration of individuals coming for the welfare. The first main migration of brown-skinned people was to work. Then a group came behind them for the welfare. So we grew up in that environment where you had men and women that was, hard-working, committed homeowners, and then you had this wave of individuals who wanted to feed off of the government with the welfare cheese and the welfare and the housing and projects and all that. So projects popped up everywhere. I grew up in Milwaukee. I know what I'm talking about. This is why I'm an advocate for these passport bros, and how some people need to stop speaking on it and some need to articulate clearly their experiences and what led them to feel the way that they feel about traveling outside of the United States with a passport. So I witnessed what went on in the 70s, the 80s, and late 80s. I joined the United States Air Force. I did 10 months of training in the United States Air Force. I was shipped off to the Republic of the Philippines. I lived in the Philippines for 2 years. A canine handler on a military installation, Clark Air Force Base. So, as an 18, 19-year-old young man, I experienced leaving the country without a passport, leaving the country and going and experiencing an entirely different culture, land, people, women, men and women. That stuck with me. It was a very valuable experience. I was so settled that the whole 2 years, I said, no, I'm not even going to go back to the United States. I'm just going to do the 2 years in the Philippines. Then I'll go back home. So I spent the entire 1 year and 11 months in the Philippines, enjoying the Philippines, enjoying the people and the culture in the Philippines. before I ever even got a passport. And it gave me a perspective of life outside of the United States, how other people viewed the United States. It was a heavily military influenced environment in the Philippines because the military was the main reason that Americans were there. And Angeles City is right outside of Clark Air Force Base. So you see Passport Bros talking about Angeles City. I had a house and an apartment in Angeles City. Even before I got married in the Philippines in 1989. But before I got married in the Philippines, I had a bachelor pad off base in Angeles City. I think me and one of my partners, what up, Jeff? We split like $100 a month, so like $50 a piece. So if we come off base, we had dorm rooms on base. Military, Air Force, we've always had nice dormitory rooms, like college dorm rooms. But you might not want to cope. The main gate was like 22 miles from my barracks, where my dorm room was. I know because I used to train racing road bikes. And for my training, they had a bike trail. I would jump on a bike trail from our dorm to the main gate, 22 miles. Yeah. Main gate was a long way away. A long way away. So you may not want to come back on the, you may not want to come back. You don't want to do them 11 miles from the 22 miles round trip. 11 miles back and forth on a jeepney or, taxi or whatever. You just be like, I'm gonna stay off base. So it was really almost cost effective to just have your little spot off base. You don't want to come back to the dorm, just go to your little spot. Plus, you might want to leave a female there or something. That's another discussion. But that's a part of the passport experience. Women. I don't know why people get in such an uproar over that part of it. Like going to enjoy women who also enjoy you. And women overseas in the Philippines and Thailand and Brazil and Colombia and Costa Rica and they're not being punished by passport bro. Men who are going to their country, they're not being punished. A lot of these countries welcome the tourism. You go to any one of these countries and you'll see the tourist areas of how the dollar just makes the price go up because those are tourist areas. People charge more in those areas. You get away from the tourist areas, your money goes a lot further. That's another discussion. So you're in the Philippines. I was over in the Philippines for 2 years. I had a place off base, place on base. Angeles City, right outside of Clark Air Force Base. I plan to go back and visit here soon. Actually, when I left the Philippines, I had a plan to have a condo in the Philippines once I retired. And I've been retired 6 years. So soon I'm gonna give me a spot in the Philippines and Costa Rica. Now, you grow up in the 70s, the 80s, the 90s, 2000s in states as a so-called black man. You witness what goes on socially, politically, and then religiously. And you go overseas, and you experience that. You make a comparison. Okay, I can balance this out. You make a comparison with the women of other cultures and American cultured women, Western cultured women. So okay, I can make decisions according to that. This is what the passport bro, I'm advocating for the passport bros. This is what they're compiling all of their life experiences with what has occurred in the United States and what they experience overseas. I can tell you personally from what I've experienced overseas with living in the Philippines for 2 years and traveling to Costa Rica several times. It's a good thing to do for a brother. It's a good thing to do for a sister. Listen, I encourage women to travel overseas, because what goes overseas with the women, you women are going to see something different than what you see here in the United States. That's why I think it's really not no passport system movement. Yeah, because, and I'm going to end this video. It done went too long already. When the sisters travel overseas, if it was a passport system movement, they get overseas and realize that yeah, it's not no game for them to play like that. The women overseas, they compete against each other. They already know that there's other beautiful women in their country, so they compliment each other and say, "Oh yeah," they call in Costa Rica, they call them ticas. They say, "Oh yes, many beautiful ticas in Costa Rica. You have your pick." See, these foreign women live in reality. They don't receive welfare like the United States the corporation women do. Women overseas have to hustle and get theirs and comply with a man, or get out and get it for themselves. A lot of the situations, they are escorts. And I don't trip on that, because that whole entire country and government and culture accepts them being escorts. So I don't have no beef with a country that has legalized escorts. So that's why I don't know why people coming at the passport bros for indulging in that, which that entire country indulges in that. That's a part of the entire countries. That's the part of their economy. Listen, and I'm gonna end this. A lot of local guys partake in the escort services. So I see these people making content about passport bros going after the sex workers and the escorts and the prostitutes, but they're not protesting them countries who have it legal. So that's why I say they phony. They just trying to go along with the bashing of the passport bros. They're not outside the embassy, the United States embassy in these countries, protesting them countries because they have legalized escorts. No, they just want something to chop it up, put that passport bros in they title, and then get some likes, some views, some clicks, whatever. But yeah, I'm an advocate for the passport bros. Yeah, it's when you use that passport, and I use my passport for leisure and pleasure, it's a beautiful thing. Chop it up with y'all later. Peace.